beverage. Subway. Eat fresh.
Subway, that's a great way to start the day. Start off the week as well. Happy Monday. Rachel Schoutsen here with you. And let me draw your attention to eastern parts of the country where things are very cold. Yeah, out through the Atlantic provinces today, a bitter cold. Now, as we focus out to the west, this is where things are going to be getting very wet, especially along the BC coast. A very wet week in store. Temperatures fairly comfortable, 9 in Victoria, but keep it here as this developing story unfolds. And we're back, and I'm glad you're here. We're taking a look at our cloud tops because these really help us tell the weather story. We can see who's seeing the active weather. The BC coast, rounds of rain. This could be dangerous amounts of rain through BC. And then also, we don't see it forming just yet, but we are waiting for a nor'easter out in the Atlantic provinces. Quickly, we'll get into this. Montreal, minus 12 this morning with the wind chill. That's feeling even cooler. And now we join Mike, where, Mike, you're sort of headed in that direction. You're headed east. And let us know, what's your plans for today?
Well, for the morning, Rachel, we're headed to Cornwall.
And that's a good spot to be, especially with these wind chills. I'm sure he has the seat warmer, the butt warmer on in the car. And just so you know, Mike is not choosing his favorite destination to go to. No, the weather will actually choose him. Yeah, where the weather will be the most potent, that's where Mike will be. Now, as we look this morning throughout southern Quebec, minus 20 in Mont-Tremblant, minus 20 in Gatineau. The wind chills are going to be intense. You have to dress for, of course, the wind chill temperature because that's what it's going to feel like once that wind sort of blows away that heat bubble that we keep around our body. Now, look at this into southern Ontario throughout the morning. Feels like minus 6 in the city of Toronto. Head up to 400, minus 10 in Barrie. Further north, minus 15 in North Bay. Now, Ontario's getting into the snow. This is a system out of Manitoba into northwestern Ontario, and we can see the cold front right here, sort of the wraparound in behind it. That is bringing some snow, and then we also see the warm front ahead of it. That is also bringing snow in through northern Ontario. Now, the good news is this is going to stick into northern Ontario throughout the day today. So for you, let's say in the GTA or southwestern Ontario, good morning, Windsor, you're not getting into the snow today. This snow sticks north. Less than 5 centimeters, that's widespread. Some harder hit areas around 10 to 20. This will sink south, and it could bring just a mix into southwestern Ontario tomorrow morning and then some drizzle through the GTA into, let's say, the drive to work Tuesday. Now, focus on this big low. This is going to bring active weather from Ontario to Newfoundland. This is the nor'easter. We'll have more details on this coming up throughout the hour. And also, we're going to be focusing on BC. Well, a very good morning to you. It is December the 8th. It's Monday, and we have a very busy week in store in terms of our weather. So I'm glad you're here. Rachel Schoutsen here with you. These are some of our developing stories. Nor'easter with heavy snow and rain. Atlantic Canada, you know that's coming for you. An overdue warm-up. Who needs to warm up? That's the prairies. We'll get into that story. And west warnings, floods and landslides. A very busy week. But first, along the coast. I love that video. Looks great. Beverly, thank you for always sending in your video. We love it. Now, as we look at this is a look ahead Tuesday morning in through Wednesday and Thursday. And I want you to watch this low. Keep watching this here. This has the potential to bring some very active and stormy weather into the Atlantic provinces, but also stretching through Quebec and possibly bringing snow by Thursday into Ontario. This is the nor'easter that we are watching, and this again is going to be our biggest weather maker out through eastern Canada. Have a look at this. Halifax, Wednesday right through to almost Sunday, you are in an unsettled pattern. As we look at Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, this is when the nor'easter will be impacting you. And temperatures have been cold, I know, and there's a warm-up in store. Manitoba looks like you're getting your warm-up more into Thursday, but have a look at this. We're not seeing those deep purple so much throughout the southern prairies, and this is all good news because this means temperatures are on the rise. So have a look at this. Chinooks helping southern Alberta. Yes, that brings the temperatures up throughout Calgary. And then we also see a southerly wind. And this is really going to help rise the temperatures as well. Have a look at Winnipeg. Not too much of a warm up Tuesday into Wednesday, but Thursday, Friday, this is where things are starting to get nice and warm and a lot more comfortable. Calgary as well. Look at this. Tuesday, 11, Wednesday, 7. Now, don't go anywhere because coming up throughout the hour, we're going to talk about this. A very stormy week for BC. Okay, I'm glad you're here. We are seeing our cloud tops right now, and this is a good indication of where the active weather is. Of course, you on the BC coast, a very active week in store. Jacqueline Whittle will be joining the program as well, and she'll have more on that. Huge amounts of rain for the BC coast. And then, of course, on the other side here out in the Atlantic, our nor'easter. Yeah, that's a big system that we're bracing for as well. Now, let's talk to you, Montreal. Good morning, Montreal. Minus 12 this morning. The sun, I'm sure it's just rising, just peeking out through the clouds. And overall, you have not so much of an active day in terms of weather, but in terms of the wind chill. Things are going to be feeling very, very cool. Now, have a look at this. Minus 20 in Mont-Tremblant, minus 20 in Gatineau, Montreal minus 21. This is what it feels like with the wind chill. And Mike Arsenault is traveling east and is making his way out into Quebec. So stay with us. We'll be joining him throughout the show. Now, as you have a look into southern Ontario, wind chill also a big story throughout the day today. A touch of a warm up into tomorrow. I will just hint with that for now. Stay with us into your local forecast and you'll be able to see that slight jump in temperatures. It's a pretty good jump though. So look, right now the wind chills minus 15 in North Bay. This is cold, and this is where we are seeing some of the snow. Yeah, north of the Great Lakes we see the cold front here. And then this is the warm front just ahead of it. So you can kind of see us painting that picture for you. And this is where the active weather is. Now, we're not talking about a huge amount of snow. No, but enough to maybe slow down the drive this morning. You'll have to clean off the windshield, shovel the driveway, especially if you live in these areas here, 10 to 20 centimeters, but more widespread, less than 5 centimeters of snow up towards northern Ontario. Now, I want to take you into the Atlantic provinces just for a second because this is the nor'easter story. So watch this here. This is going to be the next big weather maker for eastern Canada. This is bringing a rain-snow mix, also possibly freezing rain as well. Ontario stretching east through Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, all the way out into Newfoundland. It's going to be a big story, so keep it here with us at the Weather Network as well that story unfolds. Now, we'll take you into the prairies and we'll show you this first. Now, it doesn't matter if what's also creating low visibility out across the prairies right now is the dense fog. From around Medicine Hat over to Swift Current, this is where we are seeing fog advisories in place. So as you're traveling along Highway 1, very low visibility, so keep that in mind. Now, in terms of the wind chill, this is also a big story, minus 18, minus 14, minus 10. It's going to be very cool. And then we take you out into the BC coast where temperatures are not overly cool, 8 degrees. That's actually fairly above seasonal, but a very active week in store. Have a look at this. Okay, perfect timing. I am glad you're here because it's time for Share Your Weather. We put out the call on Twitter. We said we love your photos. Use the hashtag Share Your Weather. Submit to us what you see and you can get a personalized forecast. So today's personalized forecast goes to this photo. Look at this. Isn't this just gorgeous? This is in Ontario, Beachburg, Ontario. Jackie Whalen submitted this photo. Just stunning. So here we go, Jackie. This is your personalized forecast for Beachburg, Ontario, just outside of Pembroke, if you're wondering. Minus 6. It's going to be cool. And with that wind chill, it's going to feel like minus 12. And today and tomorrow is the calm before the storm. A nor'easter approaching. I'm going to get into that in just 1 second. But over the weekend, Hagupit, yeah, a big storm, a big issue out in the Philippines. And the good news is today it is making its exit, just passing over the capital and then continuing on further. Now, and you can read more about this online at theweathernetwork.com. This is a story here. And look at this shot. When it was a super typhoon, this is a shot from space. Very, very powerful. Now, this is also going to be powerful. A nor'easter. You can also read more about this online as well. This nor'easter tracking up the eastern seaboard, and it is going to impact Atlantic Canada. Now, not impacting you today. This is what you're going to feel today. This is going to be your biggest story right now. These wind chills, minus 16, minus 24 along the Fundy shores. It is going to be downright cold. Now, as we take a look at the storm, it's going to be Wednesday. That's when it's really going to track up the eastern seaboard, and it's going to affect Ontario east all the way out to Newfoundland. A very active week ahead. Now, we're not just seeing the active weather on the east coast, but also out on the west coast. The wet coast, we'll call it. Wind warnings are in place. Have a look at this for the island as well as Vancouver, and then look at this as well. the rainfall forecast, some areas could see over 120 millimeters of rain. For more on these developing stories, of course, keep it right here at the Weather Network. We're back and we have more weather to talk about. Really, there's no lack of weather conversations this week. Two big systems, one for each coast, the Pacific and the Atlantic. And we'll start off by just talking about an overview of our stories here. We can see another cold front coming into the BC coast, and this is going to bring dangerous amounts of rain. We'll get into that story throughout the hour. Ottawa this morning, -12. The sun just starting to come out. Cloudy skies, but the sun, it will peek through. And Mike Arsenault. Mike.
Find out.
Yeah, very nice, Mike. Thanks so much. And by the way, Mike is not just picking what city he likes most. The weather is going to pick him. So stay with us as that weather story unfolds. Now, as we get into southern Ontario, -10 in Barrie, -15 in North Bay. Dress for these wind chills. It's going to be another very cool day today. Into the afternoon, we're not even seeing much of a warm up here. Look at this, 2 in Toronto. This is just a degree or two below seasonal. So overall, the reality of December, yeah, it's really starting to set in. Now, once we take you into Quebec, wind chills also really coming into play. And things are going to be feeling cool throughout the day today. A slight warm up into Tuesday, though. Take a look at your local forecast. Just a degree or two, but this could help out, you know, kids walking to school, making things just a little bit more comfortable. Into the afternoon throughout Quebec as well, -14 in Trois-Rivières. I'm sure the St. Lawrence through there is going to be quite active as this storm comes through. And when I say this storm, of course, I'm talking about this. The nor'easter, as this tracks up the eastern seaboard. This is bringing active weather from Ontario east all the way out to Newfoundland. Now, for this general area, it does seem like Wednesday is going to be the most active day, but for Newfoundland, Thursday is going to be your most active day. Now, and you know what? This system continued to track east, and earlier we were showing you the snow this morning up in northwestern Ontario. That's the same system. Yeah, the same system that brought that snow we just saw in Regina now in towards northwestern Ontario. Okay, getting into the temperatures, still cool, but a warm up on the way. I want you to stay with us because we're going to be talking about above seasonal for Calgary with a Chinook. Don't go anywhere. Okay, perfect timing. I'm glad you're here because we're jumping into our developing stories. A lot to talk about. Look at this. A look ahead at today's snowcast. Yeah, it's snowing somewhere. We'll tell you where. A cool down in Atlantic Canada. Freezing wind chills and also a nor'easter with heavy snow and rain. That's on the way. But first, let me show you this footage here. Of snow, they had to call the military in to help the situation. Now here's a look at the snow that's falling in Canada. Right now, it's you in northern Ontario. We can see the cold front here and then the warm front just ahead of that. And it's not going to be bringing huge amounts of snow, 10 to 20 centimeters in the hardest hit areas, and then 5 centimeters more widespread. Now, as this system sinks to the southeast, let's say down into the GTA, it sort of loses some steam. And into Tuesday morning, this is where we could see in southwestern Ontario sort of just a rain-snow mix. But temperatures, the wind chill, yeah, that's going to be our big story throughout southern Ontario today. Nothing in terms of active weather for your Monday. Now, this, the nor'easter. This is it developing off the eastern seaboard, and it moves its way up into the Atlantic provinces, and this is going to bring active weather from Ontario stretching all the way out into Newfoundland. By the way, special weather statement out of Ottawa just said that Ottawa could see over 25 centimeters of snow. Mike Arsenault is headed in that direction, and we will check in with him later on throughout the hour. Now, you could still get into low visibility with snow already on the ground and those strong winds coming into play. I also want to mention that there is a fog advisory right now from Medicine Hat over to Swift Current, so basically just along Highway 1 there, and this is for very low visibility. Wind chills, they come into play, but a warm-up is in store for the southern prairies, especially Calgary. We'll dive into that story later on in the hour. Subway, that's a great way to start the day. Start off the week as well. Happy Monday. Rachel Schoutsen here with you. And let me draw your attention to eastern parts of the country where things are very cold. Yeah, out through the Atlantic provinces today, a bitter, bitter cold. Now, as we focus out to the west, this is where things are going to be getting very wet, especially along the BC coast. A very wet week in store. Temperatures fairly comfortable, 9 in Victoria, but keep it here as this developing story unfolds. And on today's show, a tale of two coasts, dangerous rain for BC, and also an incoming nor'easter in Atlantic Canada. Nathan Coleman joined the show with some tips.
Take a sock, put it over, here we go. This is before the storm happens. Then the next morning, you take the sock off and it's not all rigid.
And Mike Arsenault, he headed east to prepare for this storm.
Our final destination this morning will be Cornwall, and then we're going to make the determination on whether we should head to Ottawa or Montreal.
Japan made it in with 100 centimeters of snow last week. Now we'll do it all again tomorrow. Tune in at 5:30 a.m. Eastern.